As always, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn notifications on so you don't miss any of the educational content that we're looking to bring to you over the next 4 to 5 weeks. Welcome to part 3 of the Dreamweaver Small Boat Summer Series. Again, today is part 3 of 7, posting every Friday from July 18th to August 29th. Today's topic is meat rigs. We're gonna be showing you a couple different rigs that we use commonly. We're gonna be running them on both a Downrigger and a Dipsy diver today. So we're gonna be walking through those individually, some setback depths, some tips to rig your rigs up and get them fishing properly to help us catch some more fish. So the first one we're gonna rig up is your standard spin doctor. I have a 10-inch Dreamweaver spin doctor here and a Dreamweaver blue bubble meat rig. This is a really good one for us. We're gonna be throwing this on a Downrigger. When you're using your Dreamweaver meat rigs, we always keep a big old vial of toothpicks. No reason to have any shortage of these. You can get them pretty reasonably and cheap. I know each pack is gonna come with a few on their own, but it's definitely a good practice on your boat to have a good healthy back stock of toothpicks when you're running your Dreamweaver meat rig. So we're gonna start, we're just gonna unwrap this guy here. And the very first thing we're gonna need to do is to rig the meat up on our rig. So how we like to do this, the Dreamweaver meat rigs, they make it extremely easy. They just have this clear tubing going back to the hook here. That right there will always set a pretty appropriate distance from your meat to your hook, especially if you go pick up your Dreamweaver meat. We get this at our local gas station. Most tackle stores will have it as well. So what you're going to do is you're gonna rig this meat rig with the skin side facing out toward the eyelid here. You can see that red eyelid. We're gonna go ahead and slide this in. Now, one thing you'll notice is we like to push that meat rig all the way up into as far into the head there as possible. I think it gives a more consistent swim, gives better action to the meat rig. So you can choose one of 2 holes. I would tell you to play around with whatever you feel like you're most comfortable with or whatever you seem to have the most success with. So we're gonna go ahead and stuff that meat all the way to the end of that head casing there. Stick our toothpick through. And normally what I'll just do is I'll have a set of my pliers and I'm just gonna snip on each side of that head. Your toothpick samplings just drop in the bottom of the boat there. And this rig is now ready to fish. We would glow this up. This was earlier in the morning, both the flasher and the teasers on this meat rig. Again, we have the Kevin's Girlfriend 10-inch spin doctor with a blue bubble Dreamweaver meat rig. And we're gonna go ahead and throw this on a Downrigger. Similar to what we talked about with our Dipsy diver video last week, if we're going to run our, sorry, I thought we had a fish there. We do have a fish. Please hold. So we're gonna be putting that spin doctor out on our Downrigger to start. Again, just like we talked about in our Dipsy video last week, we're gonna wanna have a nice open-ended swivel to attach to our spin doctor. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this right behind the boat here. Make sure that comes out straight. Your teasers are in a nice straight line behind your spin doctor, and you're getting a nice little twirl on the end of your meat rig. You want a nice tight circle when that thing's going back. I'm gonna let back about, again, this is something to play with. For now, I'm just gonna let this back 25 foot. Go ahead and put this into my Downrigger release. We have the nice Chamberlain style releases here. Go ahead and open up our bail. Turn our clicker on. We can go ahead and just bomb that right down to depth. We don't have, it's not any more complicated than that. Again, the more you play with your meat rig setups, I would tell you to adjust the distance that you're gonna put it behind the ball. Again, just for today, I put it 25 foot behind the ball. And I'm gonna put this down to 45, close that up. I normally have my Downrigger reels set right to the point where I can crank it right down fights a fish well, but it's not gonna pop that release. And just that easy. You're fishing a meat rig off your downrigger. Again, just making sure you have that bigger swivel to attach your spin doctor to, if that's what you're gonna do. And then pretty self-explanatory from there. Now, if we're gonna go to a Dipsy, this time we're gonna be using a paddle, 11-inch double slit glow Dreamweaver paddle with a pickled sunshine meat rig. You'll notice that this paddle, again, doesn't have any swivel of its own on the end here. We're gonna wanna use one of those open-ended swivel that's on these Dipsies. So we're gonna go ahead and get our leader untangled here. Now, I would say it's especially important with these paddles to make sure that you have this style. If you have a real tight swivel on decent sized gap on that hole there, you're really gonna get a different action out of this paddle. Again, to each their own, you know, try different things if you want, but this is how we like to do ours. So again, we're gonna grab our piece of meat. The tubing sets that nice distance there, and slide that. That one went in nice and easy all the way to the front there. And just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna peg that one in the front hole there. Again, snip the trimmings off of each side. And that meat rig, again, is ready to fish. So we're putting this out on our diver. Again, if you paid attention to our video last week, even with the downrigger down, we can just drop this right behind the boat. Again, making sure you don't get any tangles. Your paddle comes out straight with your teasers right behind it. Your meat rig at the very end there. And then snap this into place. Now, depending on the downrigger releases that you have, I like to run the paddles on the Dipsies just because that tension seems to handle that big 11-inch or 12-inch paddle a lot better. Again, if you paid attention to our Dipsy video last week, play around with your leader distance from your Dipsy to your meat rig. We're running that 20-25 feet. Again, that seems to be what works best for us, especially when we have multiple people in the boat to hand line and reel. So again, I'm just gonna slide this on the outside here. Set this in the rod holder. Turn that clicker on. Loosen that drag. And again, we can let this out at a decent clip. It can't go absolutely screaming back. You're gonna get it in the downrigger. But for today, I'm only gonna drop this about 80 foot back. The water we're looking to target is a little farther up in the column today. So again, very simply, with the paddles and the spin doctors, we recommend that deeper swivel. Make sure you put that bait all the way to the front of the bait head as far as it can go. Don't forget to put your toothpicks in. And then one thing you'll want to pay attention to is the spin or the tuning on your meat rigs. If you have a meat rig that's been getting hit and all of a sudden it seems like, man, it just really shut off, really just make sure that you're getting a nice, consistent, tight spiral on your meat head when it gets to the back of the boat. When you're done using your meat rigs, essential part to running meat rigs, you have to wash them off properly. If you just pull that piece of meat after you're done fishing for the day, you pull it out of the water, throw that piece of meat back in your bag, or you throw it in the lake, it's a little scarred up, whatever it may be, you need to take that bait head and really wash it off nice with your fingers. You know, not scraping it real hard, but I mean, get a nice thumb tension, get a little brush. If you're even more skeptical, maybe like a little, you know, lemon dish soap, Dawn dish soap, something like that to get those meat rigs nice and clean. Because again, those fish will smell that nasty kind of multiple day old fish scent. Say you go 4 or 5 days without going fishing, you don't wash a meat rig, you got 5 days of stink on that thing. It's probably gonna shut that rig right off. So again, fishing both a paddle and a spin doctor on a downrigger and a Dipsy diver, part 3 of the Dreamweaver Small Boat Summer Series.